Okay, we should be live already, but we will give everyone a minute or two to make sure all of you can join. I see the room is filling out slowly, so that's nice. We're doing this webinar in quite an interesting point in time because we've had a little heat wave in Poland for the past, 5 days, and it's super hot and super humid, and there's also a possibility of a thunderstorm coming in. So if you lose us, just know that there's been some weather issues, but we will get started here very shortly. I think we can slowly start. So the chat is on here, and so that if you have any questions during the presentation, you can post them on the chat. We are streaming this live also on YouTube, so some of you are watching it there as well. So the questions from YouTube should also be visible here. So at the end of the session, we will do a Q&A and address any and all of the questions that you post. So with that being said, I think we can get started. So hello and welcome to the webinar on Executive Explorer. My name is Mateusz. Most of you know me quite well, as I'm responsible for the development of our partner channel for products. And as you also know, lately we've been working very hard on improving the program, on extending it, on allowing you, our partners, to gain more knowledge and also have more tools in the toolbox to effectively market and distribute our software products on your local markets. And this webinar is on our new solution, Executive Explorer. I asked Sylvia to prepare this webinar because it's a very cool tool. We've been seeing some really interesting results, and this is a tool for process optimization. So, as you know, in today's world, everyone is looking to cut costs and to optimize costs, and this is this tool actually does just that, because the way it works is it gathers data, everything that the users are doing in the application, and later on this data is being analyzed by some big data algorithm and machine learning, and then out of those findings you can see potential optimizations or potential automations that can be developed. And this tool has been in R&D/development for, I think, the past 3 or 4 years. So it's quite mature. We've done one successful pilot already with it, and we're doing 3 more. And in this webinar, we will just give you an overview of why we decided to develop this, what problems it solves for your clients, and how it works, and also how you can benefit from offering this to your clients. So with that being said, I'll give the voice to Sylvia, who I should first introduce, of course, because I haven't done that yet. Sylvia is a product manager responsible for the solution. She's also responsible for the data protection suite, which some of you also know, our tool for sensitive data, for the management of it in Dynamics. Sylvia is an experienced consultant and product manager, and I really enjoy working with her. Just 2 weeks ago, we've been together at the Scottish Summit, and I learned a really interesting fact about Sylvia. Sylvia actually knows Chinese, which is a super hard language to learn and to use. So props to Sylvia for that. And Sylvia, please take it away.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mateusz, for such a warm introduction. And thank you guys for joining us today in this session. I hope it is not as hot where you are as it is in Poland, because it's really tiring. Or I hope at least that you have some air conditioning. At least that would help. But okay, so let's start with this presentation. What I wanted to talk to you about is, as Mateusz said, our new tool, Executive Explorer. And it is a tool that is actually for process mining. And, you know, in general, process mining is finding processes in the systems. And we are focusing on, actually, for now, we are focusing on Dynamics 365 finance and operation, supply chain management, as it is called now. Also, the previous version, IX 2012, is also supported. And so what is process mining? Well, in general, it gathers information about what processes look like in various systems from system logs. And what we actually, when we were thinking about this product years ago, when we were just, at the development stage, we thought that, well, system logs do not really offer information to make, conscious decisions about process optimization. And because of that, we've decided on a different approach, that not only focusing on system logs, but to focus on everything that the user does in the system. So thanks to that, we'll be able to know whether the process is intuitive for the user, whether the user is getting lost maybe in the system, what is the server response time, what is the client response time, right? There are various issues that may impact the performance and processes, which cannot be really read from event logs. That's why we've decided to create something that would offer more. But coming back to why process mining is important in general, well, first of all, and I believe this is the most important thing, the most important benefit from process mining is that it provides you objective and fact-based information about what processes really look like in your organization. Yeah, you may have, documentation, right? Process documentation, which may not even exist in some companies, but if it does exist, first of all, it may be not always up to date. It may not be, detailed enough. The biggest issue, I think, with documentation is that documentation is one thing, but on the other hand, we've got what really happens in the system. We cannot really be able to tell from the documentation if all the users follow the same process, for the same steps to execute the process, right? So with process mining, we see what actually the processes look like in real life. What we see the facts, the truth, which really happens in the system. And why this information is so valuable? Well, first of all, it helps you understand the performance of processes. So as I said, you really see what is happening in the system, what users are doing. Well, maybe not even, maybe it's a situation that, different users use different approach to processes and use completely different variants, some more effective than others. Yes, so also from the process mining, we can see bottlenecks, and especially in situations when, when there are processes being performed by different teams or different people, and there is, that one process may start only after the other one is being finished. So being able to find such bottlenecks is really, really important. And those are only some of those. There are many more, and, they differ from case to case. Also, process mining reveals areas of improvement. Yeah, you might find that some processes are really redundant, include a lot of repetitions, maybe not intuitive, could be totally, optimized, even robotized, right? So this is also information that you may get from process mining, and that's why I believe it is very important. And now to talk to you about our solution, how it works in more detail, and what problem it addresses. As I've said, it addresses the problem of actually not knowing what's actually happening in the system. We are now facing, I believe that it is not a surprise to you that we may be facing very soon a serious global crisis. And, companies even now are start looking for optimizations. And I believe now is the perfect time to actually apply such solution as our Executive Explorer there, because it may help you find areas for optimization, to save money, to be more effective. And as maybe some of you know this Lean and Six Sigma methods of approaches to optimizing. Also, this tool may be very, very helpful because it offers truth about what really happens, and you can check also whether what you've decided to optimize, whether it really brought the results you wanted. But more about it in a moment. Now let me briefly tell you how the tool works. So first of all, it captures all users' behavior, all the clicks of the mouse, or the values that were typed, or the selections, everything that users done. And then this information is being collected, being analyzed by our machine learning and big data algorithm. And then the results of these analyses are being presented in our web application. So this is how it works now, more in detail. I think it may be something you are interested in. How do we capture the user's behavior? Well, this is a snippet of code that we enter into the user's application, and it records everything being done in the application in Dynamics, right? It works a little bit like Google Analytics. So the users do not really feel a thing about that they're being recorded. They do the performance of the system. So that was really important for us to achieve that. Second of all, here the data which is being collected is being stored on the customers in the customer's database. So we do not have access to it if the customer doesn't want it. It is being protected by the customer. There is no no worries that somebody who shouldn't would access this data, and it can be stored on premise or cloud as actually as the customer wishes. It's flexible here. And the web application, I will show you later on during the showcase, so stay tuned. And now let's talk a little bit about benefits that your customers can get from Executive Explorer. Well, mostly the greatest value what we see there is to save money, actually, to generate savings through mostly optimization, but not only. In a moment I will tell you about ways you can some ideas for saving money with our Executive Explorer. I'd like to underline it that now it's a perfect time to reach out to customers and offer them something for saving money. As I said, we may be facing a serious crisis sooner than later. Hopefully not. I'm really hoping that we are wrong here with this crisis, because it will impact us all in not really a positive matter. But if we are to be honest and realistic, it's something that may happen. So, okay, coming back to saving money with our Executive Explorer. First of all, we can determine which processes are the most appropriate for optimization. So, we get such information as what the number of executions of the process, number of users it involves, the general costs it generates. So, exactly by looking at our tool, what are the top processes for optimization, which are really need to be looked into and, and analyzed and optimized to generate savings. And because, it often happens that if we only take into account the testimonials of the users, they often see they are not objective, right? They're subjective. They see from their own perspective what, causes them most work. They may not see some problems with the processes they use. And they may think that, well, it's not worth talking about because nothing can be done about it, right? So we do not get from the users the information we would need to make a proper decision about selecting the best processes for optimization. Okay, so secondly, we can also save money by finding out why some employees work better than others, in the system and with the similar processes. And actually the reasons for that may be multiple, and our Explorer may show you some of them. Of course, those connect to the system, to dynamics. So for example, some of the users may use better variants of processes, and that's why they work better. Or some other users may work worse because they have, some old computers, or they are running some very heavy applications, and that's why the system and client response time takes much longer for them. So by determining what are the causes, first of all, we can we can mitigate it and actually find reasons behind those discrepancies and address them, maybe by sharing the best practices, by educating users, by changing the equipment. Yeah, the solutions may be multiple. First of all, it's important to find the cause of the difference. And another thing, we can, with our Executive Explorer, provide a very fast root cause analysis and system support. And that is because, as I've previously mentioned, our Executive Explorer, it records every click, everything that was being typed, everything was being selected, every option selected, everything is being recorded. So now when a user goes to support and says that, well, something went wrong, some error was there, but we don't really remember what we've clicked, what was being done. So with our solution, we can quickly actually find out exactly what the user did, and we're able to reproduce it and check and, well, fix it faster. So thanks to this ability to provide fast root cause analysis and system support, we can actually save money, right? Because it will take less time than before. Next thing. And this is actually a cause from one of our customers who came to us with this problem, and we were able to address it with Explorer. Well, the customer asked us, he said things like that they had different countries in which there were very similar processes, but one subsidiary was performing much, much better than the other. And they were not sure really why was this happening, what was being done. Maybe some different variants of the process were being used, or the users of one subsidiary were better at using the system, or maybe they had better equipment, or maybe they were just being lazy, right? They lots of breaks for coffee and chit chat. So yeah, with our tools, we are able to navigate, pinpoint the areas which may be causing these discrepancies, and it also opens the door to mitigating the differences. And lastly, but not least, and of course this is not, well, maybe a wrong word I used, not lastly, because there are many, many more, but those are which I wanted to underline in this presentation as benefits that could help save money. It's for preparing more effective test plans. So in other words, you are able, with our Executive Explorer, to find the most important processes, right? You know exactly what they look like, what steps do they involve, and even more, if you have our Executive Automats, another tool which is quite well known, I believe you guys are familiar with that. So there is, a synergy between Executive Explorer and Executive Automats. So you can just go to Executive Explorer, find the process you want, and just with one click of the mouse, you might generate a template of this process and upload it to Executive Explorer for recording. So there is, great support regarding not only preparing test plans, but also conducting them. So just to make it faster. And one more thing I wanted to focus on when we talk about the benefits, especially for those customers who are facing a system upgrade, right, from AX to D365. So with our tool, if you were to install it on AX 2012 or earlier version, we can determine which forms and processes should we transfer to the new system. Because, this is a common knowledge that the older versions often have modified processes, additional forms, modified forms, and some of them are no longer in use, right? So it is really a waste of money and time to transfer everything from the old system to the new one. And thanks to Explorer, we can actually see what forms are being used, how often they are being used, what processes are being used, and how often. And thanks to that, we can make decisions on what to transfer, and of course save money and time on that. And of course, some other funds may be transferred later on, but it would not impact, it would not make you to postpone the go live. And additionally, Executive Explorer also will allow you to locate key users of those processes. Also those who perform best, who use the best variants of the processes. So this is also very, very important here. And the third benefit we see here is that you can ensure with Executive Explorer that user acceptance tests are being done. Because there's often such a case that business says, yeah, we've done it, we've tested, of course, but it turns out that they didn't, or that they did it not really well enough. So with Executive Explorer, you can check whether they've done it and whether they've done a good job, actually, that they've tested it fruitfully enough. So this is also, you can also, see it and use it for this purpose. Now, I would like to talk to you about cases from our customers who've already used. This is from the case of we've created this, POC with one of the customers. Mateusz mentioned it at the beginning that it was a successful story. We've already finished it, and we've got some really great results and potential for quite a lot of savings. This customer was from the construction industry, having over 300 employees, not employees, but users of Dynamics, sorry. So we've been recording with Executive Explorer what was happening in their system, in their Dynamics, for 3 months. And after that time, we've picked some, we could say, the most important things to look into, actually, those which were most cost heavy, which required attention because they were generating, they were not optimal. And one of these cases was about repetitive actions. And actually, this problem was not connected only with one process, but with multiple processes. So when we've counted it or summed it up, it turned out that the repetitive actions took about 11 a year. And I believe, I think you should know what I mean by repetitive actions. I mean, typing the same value in the same fields over and over again. So here we have an example. One of the examples was that preparing prognosis with this company, and the one execution of this process of preparing prognosis took around an hour and a half. And throughout this process, the users typed the same value over 90 times. 90. Can you imagine that? How redundant it is and repetitive. And another case, just as crucial, entering a purchase contract, this process of entering a purchase contract, it required over 600 steps, 636 steps to be exact. And 30% of all of these steps included typing the same values into two fields. The fields was, if I'm not wrong, symbol and unit. So just this repetitive action took over 30% of the steps required for the whole process. And this case actually, needed optimization, needed addressing. And as you can see, I do not want to offer a solution right now because it can be addressed in various ways, but it doesn't really seem like now like a rocket science to optimize it, right? You can just, in some processes use already pre-filled fields or populate something from previous row. So the ways of addressing it are multiple, and maybe some are less expensive and time-consuming than others. But almost 1,100 hours to be saved a year is quite a number, because this is just wasting time on repetitions. And another case, which is actually something that we've noticed in more than one customer for now, and I think this also something that should be addressed, is that users are not, well, this is actually, the data was collected based on one customer, but I just wanted to tell you that this is something what we've noticed in another customer's case too. but we still haven't collected full data yet, so I'm just focusing on the data of the already finished project. And here, the users spent almost 2,000 hours getting lost in the system. So they were, clicking on the menu, trying to find what they were looking for. They were getting lost, and they spent so much time on it. They did not use, dashboards or favorites. They were not aware even that such options exist, as it turned out. So, so this problem is quite, quite often happens. And the way to address this is maybe actually effortless, or well, maybe not fully effortless, but make the little effort, and it's not really expensive because it doesn't really involve some development. It just you may address in such a way that you simply educate your users how to use, for example, dashboards and favorites option, and thanks to that you may save those almost 2,000 hours on getting lost, right? So there are various problems. Some require development, some require, some may be costly, and somebody may decide to not optimize something because the development costs are much higher than the value it might bring. This is also something needed to be taken into account. But there are also many optimizations that really are low cost. They are, well, we could say cheap, but and they bring great value actually. Okay, guys, I now would like to show you the application. I hope you can see my screen. Let me just check it. I think you do. Okay, so let's dig in. This is the web application of Executive Explorer, which I've mentioned. Here, we've got a list of processes which were found. This is, this is mock data. Please do not, if you see some numbers which may seem excessive, please pay it no mind. This is mock data. This is our sandbox, just for, for this, for demo purposes. It does not contain any real life information. And so what information would you see on this list of processes found? Is also area it covers, the number of executions of the process, the number of users who use this process, the average steps the process involves, the potential. And here's an interesting thing. It is a potential for automation, where 1 means low potential, 10 means high potential. Also some average time, total time spent. You can also add additional information here, such as cost of the average cost and total cost of the process. The filters are fully manageable. But let's not focus on that right now. Let's dig in how this process looks like. I've chosen a process of creating new customer. And here what we've got, some KPIs regarding the process, the information about the owner of the process. You can also appoint owners. It really helps during the analysis. And here we've got process graph. Let me expand it so you can see it. And how do you look at it? In yellow, there is marked start and the end, and you just simply follow the arrows and you see what steps the process involves. And what's important here, you see how the steps are written. I hope you see it. You can see it well. And so what I wanted to say, that what is important here in this graph is that those bold arrows, those here, they show you how most often the process is being executed, the most common variant of the process. And those finger lines here show you the variants of the process which are executed less often. So we can study in general what the process in total with all variants looks like, but we can also analyze different variants, maybe to find the perfect one, the most optimal one, the one that should be used throughout the company. And here on the right, we can, you can see some information about different variants. And if I click on the first one, see the graph changed. You see this variant looks like this. It had over 1,000 executions. Now I can go to a different variant, this one with 130 executions. It looks like this. And there are some more which are different. We can study them one by one if we need to, and see what the differences are and why they appear. And what we can do, we can dig even deeper and see exact execution of the process. So let me scroll down. And what we've got here are the executions of the process, the information in which company, in other words, subsidiary they happened, what user has done this execution, when, which variant they've used, and how long it took, a number of steps, and some other information. So let's take a look at, let's say, like this one, execution. What we've got, there is some basic information about who've done it. Now, the steps, step by step, what was being done in this execution, at what time, how long these steps. The client time is, as I've mentioned before, is the time of the response of the user's computer, of their equipment, of the workstation, how long it took them to respond. Server time is the time of response of Dynamics, right? How long it took. So thanks to it, you may be able to find out that some users work on a worse equipment, not as efficient as the others, or maybe some other reasons for lags on given steps. And actually, that's not it, because if I were to click on some steps, in which the values were being, populated, like, okay, let's go with customer account. Here on the right side, you show the properties are shown, information about the platform, the environment, and what table is being affected. But also with business context, we see here exactly which values were typed in which fields on which forms. So here we've got that currency was being set to USD. So also this information is here. You can use it for, as I've said before, root cause analysis. You can also for anti-fraud actions. If somewhere something untoward were to happen, somebody changed some account number or made a money transfer and tried to hide the tracks. Thanks to Executive Explorer, you can trace it back and be able to exactly set who changed what and when in the system. So it's all visible here. And one more thing important here is that here is the generate template. This is what I've mentioned when I was talking about test. Here you can generate a template and download it of the stats, and you can upload it to our executive automats. So this is just as simple, just click on it and it will be downloaded. Also, you can set this process as reference. It means that you find it at the best process, best conduction of this process, and you may compare it with other variants, or you may use it for process, for example, for optimization or for generating templates for tests. Any purpose you may find it useful for, it's there. Okay, there are some two more things I wanted to show you regarding statistics. Here, forms pivot. So it's a place which works a little bit like pivot in Excel. You can view these data in different ways, as a table or charts or heat maps, as you wish. I will now focus on table. You can drag and drop different information and to see more data. And this is what I've told you. How can you quickly find out which forms are being used and which aren't? So just here by sorting information, you can see here that those forms are not being used at all. So during the upgrade of the system, you may decide that you do not want to include them at all. So this also offers some good insight. And regarding processes here, it worked the same actually, this way of as pivot with the same and drag and drop information. Here you can view actually let's say I want to compare one process. I see here what users are using the process. Maybe let's say in total, not with time, but in total, how long they spend. Of course, I can also take time. I can decide on company also if I want, and which company. Actually, here is only one, but if you had more than one, you can compare it. You can, with this pivot, you can compare users' effectiveness. You can compare processes within different subsidiaries, environments. You can actually start from here to determine what needs immediate attention and go into process details from there. Okay, but just not to bore you too much, I think we can move back now to the presentation. Mateusz, can you take from here?
Sure. Happy to do that. Thank you very much, Sylvia. That was an excellent presentation. I really enjoyed it. So maybe to quickly sum up with a few words, Executive Explorer is a tool that gathers all the data about everything that is happening in the environment. So what you do is you install an agent which listens to all the actions of Dynamics users and stores this information on the client's server. And later on, of course, the longer it goes for, the more data you gather, the more conclusions you can take from this data. Sylvia mentioned the most used use cases or the most common use cases that we've identified for now. But what I clearly see is that the biggest use case will be in process optimization. And that brings me to the slide that you're seeing. So what's in it for you as the partner and how you can benefit from implementing this tool at your client side. So the tool only gathers data, right? The client will need someone, first of all, to present the findings from what the tool gathers from this data, so to present the conclusions. Then, of course, to propose some optimizations or some automations. And as Sylvia was mentioning, there will be a lot of potential for consulting services, because some of these optimizations you will just fix with configurations. Some of these optimizations you will have to develop some specific things, forms, or automated population of the fields, things like that. And also there will be a nice potential for automations, because some of these things, like, for example, handling invoices, can be done with some OCR automations. And then that can allow you to create a nice Power Platform practice. And we all know that Microsoft is focusing heavily on the Power Platform lately. And this may be a nice way for you to develop these competencies. So there's a huge potential for services. Sylvia was mentioning that this successful pilot that we've done with one of our clients. And there, what we found out about only 3 months of this data gathering is optimizations for 1,250 man days per year. So this is huge, right? If you can save the client 12 or 1,300 man days per year, then your value as the partner really increases in their eyes, obviously. And we believe that the potential here for some hero stories. So everyone would like to have a customer testimonial saying that, our partner helped us create such huge savings. And this is what we're seeing with those pilots that we're doing. And there is, of course, some potential also for partner commission, because we definitely want to provide some commission for successful sales. But based on our cooperation, I think the biggest value from our products comes from developing services around them and providing them to the clients. And often they are also just a door opener for other services that you're providing. And this brings me to the next point, which is actually the whole point of this webinar, was to inspire you and also to ask you to do a pilot together with some of your clients. Maybe you can think of a client that has a very complex application that could use some optimizations or automations. You often know best which clients are using are using the Dynamics in a very inefficient way. So we're really looking for more pilots. As I've said, we've done one successful one, and we're right now doing 3 others, and all of them look very, very promising. And we're looking for more. And the main value for us is right now to spread the knowledge, to build such case studies, to build customer testimonials, to make this tool popular, like executive automats are, because we see huge potential. So if you guys are interested in doing a pilot with one of your clients, we'll be happy to discuss that. And you can just email me, or with this link you can book a call with me that you're seeing on the screen. And I think I will also maybe post it on chat. And with that being said, we can now move on to the Q&A. So if you have some questions, please post them below. I'll add Sylvia to the stream. Sorry, Sylvia.
Okay,
I think you were saying something.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that before we start this Q&A session, I would be really grateful if you guys could, participate in a questionnaire about this webinar. How did you like it? We'll post to the in the chat, no more than a minute. So it would be really great if you could, help us out here. Okay, and so right now I just wanted to say that. And we can, I think, move to the Q&A part. Please, if you have any questions, write in the chat. There is some lag, so we may see them a bit later than you posted, but we'll try to answer all of them that will appear.
Yeah, the link to the survey has been posted. It's a super quick one, should only take a minute. Yeah, please post the questions that you have on the chat, and I can read one that I received today from an email. Let me see this. Where is it here? Okay, that's the question. Is the user able to feel the agent's action?
Okay, so I can take it. As I've said in the during the webinar at the beginning, the user actually doesn't feel a thing. The impact on the performance, we've measured it, is around 4%. And actually, this 4% is not being felt at all by the user. So they do not feel a thing. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, we've measured this on one of the projects, because this is probably the question that you will get from all clients. How will this affect our performance? Because the clients are using this on production, so this is a valid question, of course. But yeah, the performance is insignificant. 3 or 4% shouldn't be a problem. There's also a question here. Are we able to identify actions taken by user at a given time?
Yes, we can do it. As I've said, we are collecting everything, what is being done to the system, so we can trace it back. For example, if we know what user and at what time we want to find what being done, or maybe just customer name, or some different. You can search actually in the system, in our Executive Explorer, by values, right? So which value will help you identify what you are looking for. You can use it and find it. So yeah, so you are fully able to identify actions.
Perfect, thank you. I only have one more question, so I'll show it on the screen now, and I will read it in a moment. But if you have any more, please post them on the comment section, or on YouTube also. I think you can post them in this live window if you're watching from there. And this question is, can your Executive Explorer agent be used on AX 2012?
Yes, it can be. It works there. It works on both AX 2012 and on Dynamics 365. So no problem here. As I said, it can be used for the upgrade, the system upgrade, right? So you can, run it on AX 2012, gather data here, and based on that, decide what to transfer, what forms and processes to transfer to the new system. So yes, of course, it works on AX 2012.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Sylvia. Great webinar. Really appreciate it. There are no questions that I can see on the chat, so I think we'll wrap up here. But as I said, if you have any questions later on, anything comes up to your mind, or you'll be interested to take some next steps with one of your clients and do a pilot with us, just let me know, and I'll be happy to help you with that. I'll just assign someone from our sales team to help you with the pilot, and should be good. So thank you very much for attending, guys, and I will see you soon, hopefully. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.